read 6 books. I mean, I hope I can get up to 7 or 8 next month. And Life said, do you want to see something funny? We're gonna start with a hockey romance because here's the thing. Off Campus came out. It's fun. Let it be fun. It almost feels like the movie Clue. I love that movie. Within the first few chapters, I was like, that man looks like Andy Biersack. I've decided. Is this good? Is this lighting good? I usually film these at night in this room, so I have better lighting, but this is how the schedule is working out today. Well, hello, I'm Erica. I'm Maud. I'm gonna start this off by saying, yes, I only read 4 books for May. Hear me out. Life was a lot in May. I dealt with a lot. I had some emergencies. It was not fun in the slightest. And so I basically read about 1 book a week. Even though I think there was 5 weeks in May. Either way, I only read 4 books. I love how in the last one I was like, I only read 6 books. I mean, I hope I can get up to 7 or 8 next month. And Life said, do you want to see something funny? Too late, it's already happening. Anyways, everything's okay. It's just not something I'm gonna share about. Everybody's fine, everybody's okay, everybody's alive, nobody got broken up with, it's all good. So, nevertheless, I did read 4 books in May. So I wanna do a May wrap up with you guys. As promised, this reading wrap up isn't just Freedom McFadden. So I don't know if I even read, did I read any Freedom McFadden in this? Oh, I did! Okay, I did. But we're gonna start with a hockey romance because here's the thing. Off Campus came out and I knew that it was coming out this month, and one of my best friends, she watched it before me, and our other best friend who actually read the series, she's like, guys, you have to watch this. And I was like, okay, I maybe want to read the series first. She's like, no, just watch it. It's okay. You're gonna enjoy the series as well as the book series. I was like, girl, you're so right. Because it's true, I can enjoy those things out of order. I've never been a person who's like, I have to read the book first. Nevertheless, I started this month off with a hockey romance, and it was Playbook Breakaway by Kenna King. As we know, I'm slowly working my way through the Hawkeyes rookie series as it releases from Kenna King. I've said it before, I'll say it again. When it comes to Kenna King and this Hawkeye series, do not go into it expecting like having it be a life-changing piece of literature. It's fun. Let it be fun. It's okay if it's not the greatest thing you've ever read. It seems like everybody has forgotten how to read for fun. Yes, literacy is important. Oh, I've just closed my rings, flailing my limbs about. That's insane. Sorry. That was a crazy notification it came while filming this. Yes, literacy is important. Yes, media literacy is important. However, if a book has typos, but you're just here for a good time, let it exist. It is okay. If you listen to the audiobooks, which I actually did, there's no typos, so that's fun. It is the 5th book in the Hawkeyes rookie series. So far, I like the series. I like the Hawkeye series more, the original, but I think I'm always going to. However, this is fun. This is fun. I'll definitely do a full video on the series like I did for the first one, but don't expect the same sort of magic from this one that the first one gave you, if you will. Okay, so this story follows Katerina and Scotty. This is a book that's basically, the trope is marriage of convenience. It's not my absolutely favorite trope, but it can be when it's done right. I gave this book 4 stars for that reason. It just wasn't really my favorite. However, it did have fun elements. So basically, Scotty and Katerina, they end up getting married because Scotty loses a bet to Katerina's sister, who is his teammate, and Katerina's brother makes this deal for her because her mobster father from Russia has arranged for her to have a marriage to a politician's son, I believe, back in Russia. And so she has to leave her life at the ballet and in America to go essentially be a housewife for this person's son. So in order to escape an arranged marriage, she has to kind of enter one voluntarily with somebody who's like not as bad as the one who's promised in Russia. And I think that's the part that like got me, where I was like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that in order to escape one arranged marriage, there also has to be an arranged marriage. It felt sort of redundant. I think if somebody doesn't want to be in an arranged marriage at all, they wouldn't go into one. But then again, I've never been the daughter of a Russian mobster. So what do I know? Essentially, this book is just following their journey together, and it's sort of asked the question of, would you make a certain decision that'll hurt yourself, that would hurt you, in order to give the person you love everything that they deserve? And again, a fluffy hockey romance book. It's nothing super deep, it's nothing serious, though these characters are deep with the way that they talk about family. Really is a story more about family and what it is to be a family rather than it is just about a marriage of convenience. And that's what sort of saved the plot for me, even though I don't like it and it's not my favorite how it came about. And I think that it gave the book a lot more depth than I think that trope usually does, because usually it's, okay, we're gonna get married and pretend to be married, and then we're gonna live in a house together, and because we're in close proximity, that's what's gonna make us fall in love. No, this had a depth of, you fell in love with the life that you're going to have together, the whole picture, if you will. And overall, it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't my favorite, so I gave it 4 stars. However, if you haven't started the series, I still recommend it. It's still a good time. It's an easy read. If you're trying to meet your reading goal and you just want to get into hockey romance because you watched Off Campus and you've already read the series, that might be a fun one. Okay, so the next book I read is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. It's the only Frida one, I promise. I know last month was very Frida heavy. This book is about newlyweds Teresa and Ethan. I think that's how you say her name, is Teresa. But it's about 2 newlyweds who are house shopping and they're on their way to actually see this really big private mansion, and they get caught in a snowstorm. So they let themselves into the open house expecting to find their realtor already there, because they found a freshly made sandwich and a glass of water with fresh condensation on it sitting in the dining room. So they think naturally, oh, the real estate agent's here. But with there being no signal for the phones, they can't get a hold of her. So they search the house, and this is sort of where the story begins. And I don't want to say too much about this book again, because a lot of Frida's stuff has a bunch of twists and turns. So it bounces between the narration of this newlywed couple, and then it bounces back to Dr. Hale as a narrator who originally owned this home. We learn from the very beginning why they're looking at the open house is that Dr. Hale has actually gone missing. And so she is presumed to be passed away, and they are essentially selling her home and her estate. And Dr. Hale's segments are essentially her narration through her sessions with her patients. So we meet several patients throughout our time listening to Dr. Hale, and it is thought that one of these patients is responsible for her disappearance and untimely demise. That is all I will say about it, because this book was crazy. I did only give it 4 stars just because there's been crazier twists that Frida has written. I somewhat predicted this one. Nevertheless, there was one twist at the very end that kind of shocked me, and I was like, oh, I actually didn't see that one coming. That one was kind of crazy. And I especially enjoyed this thriller knowing that Frida McFadden is actually a brain surgeon in her 9-to-5. And anytime I'm like tired or getting lazy, I think to myself, well, Frida's a literal brain surgeon and she's publishing like 2-3 books a year, so get up, do something. I think that there's been better Frida books, but I don't think this is a waste of time by any means. I think that if you're looking for a really good whodunit sort of mystery, it almost feels like the movie Clue. I love that movie. And you're sort of moving through this house as they do, almost piecing together what happened to her. I think I wish I would have read it honestly during September or October. It's got that true mystery vibe that I love that time of year. So if I had any recommendations for this book, it would be to read it during spooky season. Definitely. Okay, so the next book is Mr. Heartbreaker by Piper Ryan. I think I've read something by Piper Ryan before. It sounds familiar. However, I am exhausted. I don't do well in the heat. Prepare to hear me say I'm exhausted in all of my videos till September, you guessed it. But I gave this 5 stars. I will say I don't know, because I'm reading the second book in the series and it's not as good. I'm not gonna know until the 3rd book if this is a really good series for me and the second book's just a one-off. This book I gave 5 stars. I also read this book during a very, very high stress time in May, and it was a really, really good escape. I've looked back at books that I've given 5 stars to sometimes, and I'm like, what was happening in my life? I was unwell, and this was a 5-star read just because it got me out of my own head. You know what I mean? This book I did give 5 stars. So this is essentially a forbidden hockey romance between a hockey player named Rowan and a woman named Lee, who he meets at a wedding. They start getting together because Lee needs sort of an escape. Lee has just learned that her mother, who is a bridal seamstress, is cheating on her father, and she's sort of burdened with this secret. and this is a major plot point that you learn about within the first 5 seconds of the book, so it's not a spoiler, don't worry, but Lee is essentially carrying this secret, which is why hooking up with Rowan is sort of an escape for her, and she sort of disregards the fact that used to be teammates with her older brother, because her and her older brother have a pact that she will never date anybody on the team, right? This isn't a problem until her brother joins his team. He gets transferred. It's a thing. He returns home to the Chicago Falcons. Call me crazy. I love when a hockey romance is based in Chicago. Do I love hockey players and would date one? No, I've met them. However, in books, they're fantastic. And the book essentially follows Lee's life becoming more and more complicated as we follow Rowan falling more and more in love with her, and vice versa. Lee is falling in love with Rowan as well. And what I'm saying is that this book is very messy. It has a lot of factors, has a lot of moving parts. If you're somebody like me who loves reality TV and you like to witness drama that isn't yours, this is a very dramatic book. This is a messy book. It is so good, especially if you need an escape like I did. I gave it 5 stars. And then the last book that I read is How to Survive Camping, The Lady in Chains. I just did a review on this. It was my previous video. So I'm not going to touch on this too much in this video, because if you want all of the details on it, you can go watch the previous video. It is a spoiler video, so it has everything in it. However, let me give you a quick non-spoiler review. This follows Kate. Kate is a campground manager, as we learned in the previous book, How to Survive Camping, Mad with No Shadow. She deals with old land that her family has owned for generations. They look after the campers as well as making sure the creatures don't off too many of them, though it's unavoidable at some points. However, she essentially creates a survival guide on how to survive camping on her campground, and it is full of mysterious creatures, mythological creatures, rituals. It is hilarious. It's dark comedy, so do with that what you will. But it has a very attractive man named Man with Skull Cup. Why is he attractive? I picture him as Andy Biersack. You can picture him as whoever you want, but the moment I read about him in the first book, in the first few chapters, I was like, that man looks like Andy Biersack. I've decided. And this book is essentially about her trying to protect the campground from a new entity called the Lady in Chains. And this is so packed full of monsters and mythological creatures, and it is not boring for 1 second. You are always engaged with this book. This book was a 6-star read for me. If you want this full spoiler review, check out the video before this one. With that being said, that's everything I read for May. Not a whole lot, so sorry, I'm working on it, alright? Sometimes life just be getting you, but I am ahead in my reading goal. This is a reminder, just because maybe you had a bad month of reading, maybe you didn't read a whole lot, maybe you didn't read any books last month. There's always this month. And it's okay if this month if all you read is 1. You read. Also, audiobooks count as reading. Don't let anybody tell you different. I'm a big advocate for that. But anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you're reading in the comments down below and what was your favorite book in May, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Ooh, my ear just started ringing. Someone's talking about me. Okay, that was rude.